What is the most immature thing you have ever seen an adult do? A customer literally hung out in the middle of our store and started screaming, "Does anyone work here?" when the only employee in her current line of sight asked her to wait till she finished with another customer first. I saw a grown man throw his burger at the cashier at McDonald's because it had onions on it and he didn't want onions. My husband got a sandwich thrown at him by a middle-aged woman because he apparently made it wrong according to her arbitrary standards that she failed to disclose before ordering the sandwich. We later saw the same woman on a viral video yelling at the cashier in a Starbucks because some customers in the Starbucks were speaking Korean. My husband also got the police called on him by a 30-something man for not giving him a free pickle. Having my vegetables weighed at the supermarket, and some guy cuts in line and just plonks a zucchini on the scales to be weighed. I'm in China and line cutting is a huge issue here. I don't say anything. I simply pick up the zucchini and hand it back to him. He throws it on the floor and storms off. In Whole Foods. Whole Foods worker drops and spills a tray of produce he's transporting. Middle-aged lady stops, looks me in the eyes and says, loudly so everyone can hear, "Sucks to be him." Like we were all supposed to laugh at this guy trying to do his job. F that dipshit lady. Woman sent a plate of food back because there was a hair in it. Okay fine. Then she demanded a refund. Sure got it. Then she got in everyone's face screaming about how we are an awful business. The strand of hair on the plate was a long black strand of hair. None of the cooks, my job, had long black hair. The waitress did not have long black hair. You know who did? The lady who ordered the damn food. We made fun of her all night. All of us cooks were pointing fingers saying you put the hair in her dish. The real kicker? The restaurant had an open kitchen concept. She could see none of us had long black hair. How stupid can you get? Adults arguing with children and then get even more mad when the child has a valid point. I used to be a store manager for Circuit City. A guy came on with an open PlayStation game, wanting his money back. Due to federal copyright laws, the best we could do was exchange for the same game. He got so mad at my cashier and me that he stormed away from the service desk, went to my video game department, and took a shit on my floor. Just dropped his pants and laid a deuce right on the floor, with no shame in it either. I hated him. A friend of mine worked at a parking lot booth at a university. He had a man come through who said he got to park for free because he was a professor emeritus, a retired professor with full benefits. While professor emeritus status does allow for free university parking, they are required to have their badge to show proof. Guy said that he had lost it and he didn't want to pay. My friend said he couldn't let him out unless he paid the $2 or showed his ID. The guy instead rolled up his car window and sat on the horn. For a long time. My friend called his supervisor and asked what to do. The supervisor told him to close the booth window and wait. My friend's shift ended 30 minutes later and the later shift person came to replace him. The guy was still laying on his horn demanding to be let out. Fortunately it was a two-booth station so other people could go out the second exit. The guy was literally just inconveniencing himself for almost an hour, over $2. He finally caved and paid the $2, now $3 because he was there an extra hour, but complained later to the parking supervisors. They told him to bring his ID next time or just pay the amount he owed. Saying, "I don't want to talk anymore" every time I make a good point in an argument. A 60-plus-year-old woman screaming at me to get up because she wanted to sit where I was sitting. It was during the library's annual book sale, and I was a newly elected trustee who was just recovering from a 2-month-long illness. I was weak and had a bad back, both of which this bitch knew, but that didn't stop her. I eventually just got up and left. Saw a woman throw herself on the ground and start screaming because she was told no. I worked in retail at the time and had dealt with too many Karens that day. I was not going to deal with this one while off the clock, so I didn't stick around to see what happened to her. When I was like 6 or 7, my uncle threw an all-out temper tantrum when I'd beat him at Super Mario Kart and cursed out my mother because she raised a cheater before slamming the door and leaving. I later found out as an adult that he had some issues with drugs and drinking. A friend of a friend cried because his parents didn't buy him Pokemon cards for Christmas. He's 26 and married. I was once punched in the face because a guy hit on me and I politely turned him down. My friend who got so mad that his wife used the last of the milk, he bought a second refrigerator with a padlock on it to keep his stuff in. He came home about 3 months later and found the divorce papers stuck to it with a magnet. I saw my almost 60-year-old mother throw a temper tantrum when I was arguing with her. I'm talking foot stamping, crying, the whole thing. I tried not to laugh as that would have made it worse. There's lot of stupid, childish things adults do. The question is that tantrum because of hormones, or because baby needs a nap?